All right. Hello, everyone. Happy holidays and welcome back to another special edition of the FwooshCast where we are very fortunate to be once again talking turtles with Trevor Zammit from NECA. Trevor, thanks so much for joining us here in the waning days of 2021.
Yeah, hey Nick, thanks for having me back.
How are things going as you're trying to probably furiously wrap up all of the business and everything for this year?
Yeah, things are good. It's just busy like always. You know, things haven't slowed down at all, and especially getting close to Chinese New Year, it's always right now is like a mad dash to get everything over to the factories because it's you know by the time the factories shut down and then when we need like we need prototypes for Toy Fair, it's like you're kind of screwed if you don't hit that cutoff because they're everyone's gone and everyone went home for their holiday. So
Yeah.
yeah, it's like you gotta all of November and like kind of into December has just been like trying to get everything that they need, so stuff in production can ship before they shut down, and then we're getting everything we need for Toy Fair. So it's lots and lots of planning and trying to,
Well,
I don't know.
well, cool. Let's just jump into that then, because as you said, being at the end of the year, we're kind of living in two different worlds right now. It's like you're kind of off living in the future a little bit, and your busy schedule is to the benefit of us all. But we have on the other side of it, we have been inundated with stuff, just hitting rapid fire for this year. So I kind of wanted to take a few minutes and just maybe look back at the year that was for 2021, and I think I'm going to start with the Ninja Turtle cartoon line, and I'm gonna pull something up here and let me know when you can see my screen.
Yeah, I got it.
So this little picture is silly enough, but I put this together the other day because this represents all of the releases that came out in 2021 for the cartoon line, and you guys practically doubled the amount of figures in that line this year that we had previously. So I don't know, man. It's so diverse and so much fun. Any overall thoughts that you have from your vantage point about the lineup that came out this past year?
It was a big change and I think a huge step forward. There was just so much cool stuff, and there's a lot of it are like 100% original sculpts. It's new stuff. Lots of new tooling. So it's not just like reusing, the old parts over and over again. So that is always like super exciting when you can do like a Muckman figure, do it like accurately to the show. That a lot of these designs, there's very little opportunity for like, reusing parts. So it's just, like Wingnut and Screw Loose were, gigantic characters on just physically they're, Wingnut's huge and Screw Loose is like way bigger on the cartoon than he was as a toy, so to do all that stuff and, accurate to the show, I'm so glad we were able to do that and not really cut corners. Mutagen Man, that's another, just a crazy design.
He's
so
bonkers.
Unique, he's like totally different from the toy. It's just such a cool thing. So
yeah, and his crazy design, I mean, facilitated some cool, I guess, engineering pieces that you guys even put together that, for something that is, a little unassuming, the way that you made him so that you can swap heads and everything like that. I mean, I've only had him for a couple of weeks, but man, it's a lot of fun.
Oh yeah, I'm glad you're enjoying them. Yeah, they're super fun, and like that one especially was like a very unique challenge because it's such a weird design. So you're like, how do you work in all these joints and stuff, and having the tank, like the front piece being removable and putting a ball joint in the back of the head so you can like, kind of twist him. And he's such an interesting character on the show. So having like the really worried expression and stuff, that was important because he's not just like an evil, like a a monster, you know, he's kind of like this tragic character on the show.
Yeah,
So
I had to stick with that head because of that reason. Yeah.
yeah, that's the one that I have on mine too, is that because it perfectly sort of encapsulates the you know, that those his personality on the show. So that, you know, that was great. And Dirtbag and Ground Chuck, that was two more that, you know, we were able to you know, do them right. That was the first project I think that Paul Harding was
Yeah.
sculpting for us. And you know, just this is when we started branching out, doing more like digital stuff with the cartoon figures. So having Paul and like Tony Cipriano and Josh Sutton and trying to not leave anybody out here. I think that's most of the guys. That Brody Perkins sculpted a few of these figures. It was great to just be able to, you know, start working with, you know, just bringing in like more talent into the Ninja Turtle team, you know.
Yeah.
So
well,
it was great.
Well, I mean, it speaks to, you know, the craziness of the characters and the character design from the show, but also just your guys's planning of the line. I mean, you mentioned it, but I mean, we started off the year with bunny suit versions of Bebop and Rocksteady. You got all four of the frogs. I mean, first time ever, you know, together in this look. You got Ace Duck, who's one of my favorites. I mean, Vernon had a hell of a year, man. He got two different releases this year. And then Chrome Dome, we didn't even talk about him. I mean, he's like the biggest figure in the line by far, you know.
There's a few things, like when like the Android Krang was like hitting stores and people were like, oh, this figure's great, and like he's, you know, he's bigger than the other toys. It's just like everyone was all over like the Android Krang figure, and I was like, you know, we've got a Chrome Dome here that we haven't shown, you know. So yeah, for sure, when we're working in the future, it's like at that big Chrome Dome, I wanted to he was awesome. So it's great that we finally announced him, and you know, he's out there now. And again, like all those Ultimate figures that come in the VHS packaging, like coming up with the artwork for Chrome Dome, and oh god, who else? There's like the Ultimate Foot Soldier, and
and I just got the Ultimate Pizza Monster, and I love the tribute to the old the inner tubes. The turtle tubes that you did on the front of that one. That was cool.
Working on that artwork is you know, coming up with those ideas too is a lot of fun. Like my friend Dan Elson does all the illustrations for that, and it's all a group effort. I think like Jason Langston was me and him and I were doing sketches and trying to come up with ideas. Like I would throw some ideas out, and then Jason would like sketch them up, and we'd send them to Dan would paint them. It's a big group effort. The Pizza Monster too, that's another one that like, it's a huge figure. But again, like, you know, the fact that we were able to do the Pizza Monster is super cool. So
yeah, and I mean, I know you said it was a group effort and whatnot, but whoever came up with the tagline "Muck Everlasting," that I mean, that should get a writer's award or something, man, because that's pretty amazing.
That one was me. We had a list of about 10 or 11 different. Most of the time, there's about somewhere around 10 different ideas, like working titles for each figure, and Muck, there's a few others that were really good contenders, but Muck Everlasting seemed to be everyone's favorite. So, you know, so we went with that. But that's another thing. It's real silly stuff, but just coming up with the titles for these fake VHS covers is, you know, it's just so, everything about working on these figures, everything is like, it's just so much fun. So
but they work, the taglines work so well as a throwback to those vintage ones. But when you look at a lineup like this, because, you know, I mean, I I obviously collect this line and I add new figures to the shelves that I look at every single day. But
Yeah.
when you look at the lineup together like this, I mean, how do you have a method of what you do to go about, you know, saying, okay, well, I know that these figures, we're going to try to get them out within a calendar year, in terms of how you plan it and what you look for the different types of releases? Or is it just kind of like, these guys are cool, let's do them?
It's mainly these guys are cool, I just want to do them. Like
Yeah.
I'll be watching an episode and I'm like, oh man, that's like, this would make a great figure. And then I'll be like, hey Randy, like check this guy out. Or, there's like, here's this character, maybe we should make her, she's never had a figure before. Randy's
Yeah.
like, yes, definitely. So let's, do that. So that's always like kind of where the germ kind of starts,
Uh-huh.
and then it's balancing the 2-packs, in between like the ultimate figures. Some figures obviously have to be like an ultimate figure, like Chrome Dome was too
Right.
big, we couldn't pair him with anyone else. Wingnut and Screw Loose were supposed to be just like an ultimate figure, but Screw Loose was so big, he's like the size of Baxter.
Yeah.
So that kind of went from an ultimate figure like into a 2-pack. Muckman was the reverse. Muckman and Mondo were going to be paired together. Joe Eyeball and the skateboard just like pushed the costs like way over what the what a 2-pack would allow. So then we split those up and they got their own, so it's you start out with a plan and then you sort of gets chipped away at and try to just, course correct. And
well, I mean, I think it speaks to the strength of, the eclectic lineups, and, some of these characters that they have cool designs, and some of them, we've never had figures of before. But looking at something like this, it's what, like 15 or so individual releases, and there was one turtle set that was released this year. I mean, this is like the second year in a row where they've been terribly outnumbered by the other characters, and I love it.
I do too. That's the most exciting thing for me, is like, getting to work on these figures, is that it's not just like, how many times can we, reskin the turtles, or, new outfit, or, how many different gimmicks are there, like turtles sell and no one else, people don't care about the other figures. It's the opposite, the fans like want all this stuff. So as long as it keeps selling, then we're going to be able to, kind of go deeper into the, just what's not been done before, or, doing like the cartoon accurate versions of these characters. So yeah, like for me, number one for me was doing all 4 Punk Frogs.
Yeah.
Those are some of my favorite characters from the show. Like as a kid, I always loved the Punk Frogs.
Yeah, me too.
It drove me crazy that there was only 2 of them ever made as, as toys. So, and it doesn't hurt that those ones specifically are just like the Turtles. It's basically, it's one body.
Yeah.
Like the design lends itself really well to, to making a, 2-packs, I guess. They could have been a 4-pack, but
even that said, they share all this, that they share a lot of the same bodies. But I'm sure you're like me, because I have a distinctive favorite of those 4 that really sticks out to me. Do you have a favorite of the Punk Frogs that you worked on?
I don't have necessarily a favorite character. I love the freaked out head where he's sort of making that grimacing face. I love that. Oh God, now you're putting me to the test here.
Yeah.
Who's the one with the bow and arrow?
That's Rasputin.
That's Rasputin.
Yeah.
Rasputin's really cool. Napoleon, I know, has the whip.
Yeah.
They're both really cool. But who's your favorite?
When the first set arrived, I was like, all right, Rasputin's going to be my favorite. But then when the second one got here, for some reason, Attila is the one that he's grabbed me. And it was like, he wasn't necessarily my favorite one from the cartoon, but as a figure goes, I don't know. I've got him front and center now.
Oh, wow. Yeah, it's cool. It's always fascinating to see like who, for whatever reason, like, yeah.
Well, And I think
Cool.
it kind of begs, you know, the conversation, and we're going to get into it a little bit more here, with some checklist stuff here. But you know, with a lineup like this, it's like you guys are getting through so many of the characters, and there's so many memorable ones here, that you know, it people love it, but it kind of starts the, you know, murmurs of, man, are they going to have anything else to get to? And I mean, for me it seems obvious that yes, but you know, what's your thought on as far as obscura and whatnot into the line?
Well, yes, there's more to do. There's definitely like, you know, there's definitely some figures missing off of this, off of the checklist. Um, you know, we've added a few more, like you said, like the checklist kind of doubled this year,
Uh-huh.
which is great, but there's still a few, uh, you know, a few characters missing. And like I'd mentioned to you before, I've got like a short list of like the absolute like must have figures, you know. And we've, for me personally, there's like Granitor was one of
Yeah.
them. I kind of count the Punk Frogs all as one, but yeah, doing like, you know, Attila and Rasputin didn't have toys originally, so there's Punk Frogs. Even like Kerma, you know, like I
Yeah.
love that we were able to put Kerma in with Mondo Gecko. Like, you know, he's in a handful of episodes. We never had a toy. He would have been a perfect little buddy to add in, you
Yeah.
know, the original figures. But you know, doing Usagi, that's another one that's like, you know, I think that's a fan favorite that everybody was hoping we would do. So
Well, let's since we talked about Usagi, you guys get a little sneaky this time of year, and release
yeah,
new checklists that generally have fun little previews to that, and you have released ones for the comic and video games, which we'll get to, and then the
yeah,
movie, which we'll get to as well. But
yeah,
since we're talking about the cartoon stuff, I think this was probably the big one that's been shown, and I'm gonna pull that up now. So
yeah,
that there's some interesting stuff on here, and I think since you mentioned Usagi, we'll kind of start we'll kind of start with him,
yeah.
because you've shown off some digital renders before, but this checklist is the first time that we're really getting to see him in his glorious cartoon colors.
Yeah, that's the actual paint master. So uh yeah,
So
there,
he
there
count
is.
he's got some different circumstances around him, because he's Ninja Turtles adjacent, but he's an independently, you know, owned character by Stan Sakai. So I'm sure that comes with its own set of things that has to, you know, happen in order to get it. But I mean, how
Yeah.
important was it to you to make sure that this got done?
I think the line would feel incomplete without him.
Hmm.
You know, he had a pretty, it was 2 episodes, but he had a big presence on the show. The original toys are awesome. He's like a beloved character, you know.
Yeah.
He's like, there's crossovers in the comics, and it's just, you know, yeah, it's Usagi's kind of his own thing, but he's certainly part of the Ninja Turtle family. So um yeah, it would feel incomplete like without him. So it was, yeah, we reached out to Stan, like worked out a separate deal with him, and he's been like great to work with. Um, so it's, yeah, it's awesome that we get to add him into the line.
So I think Randy or Blaine or somebody put it out there that he's going to be an ultimate figure
Yeah,
early in the year in 2022. Is that right?
it should be early. Yeah, if everything goes well with, you know, supply chain and
Yeah.
everything, all that nonsense. Like, yeah, it's like he's at the factory now, you know, so it'll probably ship after CNY, and then
Uh-huh.
yeah, so it should be like, you know, spring sometime when he's out there. So
Well, I'm sure you know, you'll be hopefully Toy Fair is still going to happen here in a few weeks, and I'm sure you'll be showing more as far as that goes. And I know we're talking
Yeah.
about cartoon now, but as far as working out, you know, that deal with you know, Stan in order to bring him in. I mean, did you guys kind of put that forth so that you could get to the cartoon version of Usagi, or are you maybe thinking a little bit beyond that as well, possibly?
I mean, we always kind of shoot for the moon with this stuff, you know. It's
Uh-huh.
like there's rarely a time when it's like, oh, I really just want to make this one figure, you
Yeah.
know, like especially like for me, like I get real greedy and I'm like, I'll be like, Randy, if we could do this, like I think we could, you know, we could reuse this body, or like there's an opportunity to, you know, we could do this like a like there's a repaint, or if we just resculpt a few parts, we can get a second figure. And you know, so I'm always kind of thinking like, you know, what else can we do to just to really, you know, make it fun and yeah. So there could be more. I don't know.
All right. All right. All right.
Who
Well,
knows?
I'm looking forward to hearing more about that. But
Yeah.
um, you guys put up for sale actually on this past Turtle Tuesday an army builder of Mousers
Yeah.
that is coming new. So I'm really excited about that. But that's not the only new army builder that's kind of out there too, because
Yeah.
things are getting rocky and a little bit crooked.
Yeah.
Oh, there we go. Here, let me
Oh
stop
yeah.
that so
Okay.
we can see you there. So,
Yeah, this is another one on that short list or bucket list or whatever. It's like
yeah.
this episode I had the VHS tape of these of this one when I was a kid. I think it was like Return of the Shredder
Uh-huh.
or something. But I always loved the Crooked Ninja Turtle gang. And uh yeah, this was another figure that I was hoping and praying we'd be able to, you know, we'd be able to get to him, because it was such a weird, obscure thing and kind of
Uh-huh.
totally forgotten about. I don't think they appear in, oh, I guess they're in maybe in the Archie comics or something, and
Yeah, I think so.
like, you know, the first or second issue, but you know, largely kind of just like forgotten about. And they're just so cool. They're just like these, you know, these guys that wear bags over their head, and everyone in town thinks they're actual turtles. And I love like the, you know, the lazy disguises, and like everyone's just completely fooled by them. So um yeah, they're super cool, and it's just such a great army builder set to like put the Crooked Ninja Turtle goons with a like a rock soldier infantry guy, just so you can, you know, just buy them up and, you know, just create
Yeah.
the army. So
That's a fun combination because I mean, you know, I've since Grant, you mentioned Granitor, he was always one of my most wanted, you know, vintage figures as well. But since you guys released, you know, both him and Trag, it's like, man, they need their army, and this
yeah,
is a cool way
exactly.
to build out two different armies at once with this.
Yeah, well, and you know, we could have split them up and put them each like with a foot soldier, or done like two rock soldiers and two of the gang members. But I don't know. It was just, you know, just combine those two, and I don't know. It seemed to work. So
Well, I mean, both of them also kind of, you know, leave possibilities open too, because, you know, I looked at when I first saw that rock soldier, I was like, that's awesome. You guys can do them in gray too. And
yeah.
you know, the turtle gang, you know, they kind of, you know, they have a sensei out there too, right? Who's got a
that's
little bit different build.
that's true. Yep. So yeah, there could be more. Again, that's the thing. Like there's a lot of characters that aren't on this list, you know, or on this on the checklist here that, yeah, there's still more to do.
Yeah. Well, I know army builders are always exciting, and everybody's been wanting Usagi Yojimbo, but from a selfish standpoint, I have to say that the thing that I've been waiting for, and that showed up on this checklist, and that you have been generous enough to allow us to show a little bit more during this conversation, is the fantastic trio from Dimension X, the hot rodding teenagers, the neutrinos, and I am so stoked that they are finally here.
Yeah, we alluded to that mysterious 3-pack back in the summer, I guess, at Comic-Con. So yeah, it's not the Kojima brothers, it's the we're making the neutrinos. Again, like fan favorites. Like, it's amazing that, you know, I knew at some point we'd hopefully get to the neutrinos, but it was you know, it is a testament to, like, you know, everybody, like, people love the line, it's selling great. All new sculpts, it's 3 all new pieces. There's really like no reused parts on any of them.
Wow.
So, you know, it's awesome that we're able to do this, because again, just like with Usagi, the line would feel kind of incomplete if, you know, the neutrinos were in like a ton of episodes. So they're, you know, you got to do them.
Well, and you mentioned they're going to be in a 3-pack, and this kind of shows that they're going to have some hoverboards to them. And to me, the neutrinos are like some of the other characters that weren't necessarily regulars, but dipped in and out of the show, is that they had pretty different looks to them in terms of like the animation style later on in the show.
Wildly.
Yeah, and these guys definitely invoke that first season style that I definitely prefer. I mean, was that a no-brainer for you as far as which one you were going to go for there?
For sure. There's some episodes you watch this and you're like, who was drawing these?
You know, like their heads were as big as their bodies eventually.
Like, who's drawing these? Like, these are awesome. So yeah, they're not always on model, but certainly like the original 5 episodes, like that's some of the best animation in the entire series. So yeah, so it made sense for these guys to like kind of stick to that look. That's what everyone, I think, like, that's how people remember them, you know. It's it's certainly their best look. And then later on in the show, it's kind of, it's all over the place, you know. So,
well, you know, aside from the hoverboards and whatnot, it looks like you guys are going to have a few interesting inclusions in terms of like pack-ins and whatnot to go with them. So I don't know. This looks like it's going to be a really fun 3-pack. And what this is, you've done single packs, you've done 4-packs, you've done 2-packs, but this is the first 3-pack that you guys have put together, right?
I believe so, yeah.
Well, it's just, I mean, I couldn't imagine them not all being together, but can you talk about some of the stuff that you're planning on including with them?
Yeah, sure. Yeah, this originally they were going to be in 2-packs. And then Randy was like, we should just, like, they're kind of small enough, they're little, we can probably, let's just make them a proper 3-pack. And that made the most sense. So then it was just like, figuring out, you know, the accessories. So I want to put like hoverboards in there. You don't really see hoverboards on the cartoon, but like it totally works for these characters, because there is a chance we might not make 2 hot rodding cars, you know, like 2 giant hot rods.
Got to get my customs going.
Yeah. So so it's just, you know, I think they each have 3 sets of hands, like most of our figures do. Baby Tribble and the Gerbix or the Greebix. I think it's a Gerbix. You know, so it's all stuff you've seen on the episodes, and those to me are always the favorite accessories to act, like Pigeon Pete, or, you know, like Kerma we talked about. Like, there's those little characters that aren't quite, you know, a full figure, but they're just such a great little accessory, and it's like a throwback to the old vintage toys, you know, that always came with like little buddy. So yeah, pretty basic articulation on these guys. There's like Tribble's got, you know, like ball hinges in the shoulders and like a ball joint in her head. And then the Gerbix has just a ball joint in his head, but you can twist him around and, you know, get a little bit of, you know, posability out of them.
Yeah.
There's like this little Dimension X, like it's like a little cable box that Donatello has in one episode.
Uh-huh.
He plugs into the television. And then he's like fine tuning it to try and find like a Dimension X channel, or like tuning into like whatever the neutrinos are doing on Dimension X. So it's a little thing that goes on top of the TV.
Yeah.
There may be a TV coming in the future at some point. So who knows? Tune in and find out.
Tune in, yeah.
Yeah. So, but yeah, there's a little like Dimension X cable box thing. There's this freeze ray that I don't think it's technically a neutrino device, but it looks like it could be. So anytime I can make another, you know, have one of the sculptors like make a ray gun or make a little tracking device or something, you know, we just sculpt them and throw them in wherever we can. So there's like a tracking device thing that Krang is holding in one of the, I think it's the Baby Tribble episode. Yeah, there's a little TV box thing on the ground. Dask is holding Krang's like neutrino finder device. Kala's got the freeze ray.
Yeah.
Zach's got, oh god, he's got some other tracking device that is in, that might also be in like the, what is that? There's like that frost giant, Iceman Cometh.
Yeah.
That's where those two are from. So yeah, so hopefully by the time we're all done with this cartoon line, I'm really hoping we'll have made like every tracking device, like every ray gun, just making all that crazy stuff that it's either like Krang tech or like something Donatello like whipped up in the you know, down in the laboratory. So
yeah, I was gonna say I'm gonna need like another street scene diorama just for all the cool ass tech and weapons that are included in
there's so much, like it's so insane that like every episode there's a new tracking device. You know, it's just, he never had the same, like it was like in the 2012 show, it's like they had that little Game Boy with the egg beaters or something, and he would just use that, and it was like plugged into the Shell Razor, the Party Wagon or whatever. They'd use like the same props like every episode almost. But in the original cartoon, it was like every episode there's like totally new, like weird device that, you know, Shredder hands off to Bebop and Rocksteady, or, you know, it's just, it's crazy. So yeah, so we're trying to sculpt all of it.
Well, I definitely dig these cats and kittens. That's for sure. Where are they in terms of, you know, planned release? Are they something earlier in the year, spring?
Earlier in the year is like what we're shooting for. So fingers crossed it sticks to that. Yeah, so should be kind of like early to like first or probably second quarter, I would guess, if all goes according to plan.
Dang, now I'm gonna have to like really think about what my most wanted is after this, because they've been at the top of my list ever since I think like Ace and the Punk Frogs were all announced. So it's like now I gotta figure out what my most wanted undone is now.
Yeah, you told me like you and your brother were into like really like Muckman. I know you like Ace Duck, and every time we talk, it's always, you're like, what, neutrinos? What's going on with neutrinos? So I know like there's we did all those guys. Who's left on your list?
Oh, well, that's the thing about the cartoon. It's like Ray Fillet is one of my favorite characters, but not the cartoon version. So
I don't think that's anyone's favorite, the cartoon version.
Yeah, and I mean, you guys are doing Toka and Razar. They're coming up soon too, because we're seeing, you know, I think what you guys showed them off really in their painted glory for the first time in the checklist too, right? Yeah, there they are.
Yeah, I think that's right. because we showed the teaser image at Comic-Con, and then maybe there is another thing. I don't. When we did all the monster stuff in October, did we show something?
Yeah, maybe they were like
Can't remember.
slightly, yeah, there.
That might have been the first time we showed them, was like, yeah, just like a month or two ago. But
Yeah, but
here they are again.
they were
They're
such weirdos on the cartoon too.
totally weird, like totally different than the movie, or just, yeah, that Dirk Savage episode that's one of my favorite episodes because it's just got so many characters in it. And like, yeah, Toka and Razar, like never thought we'd probably do those like from the cartoon, but you know, here we are.
Yeah,
And they're awesome. That's another, like, those are Paul Harding again. Like he's just knocking this stuff out of the park. So yeah, like the movie versions of Toka and Razar were just so amazing. You know,
yeah.
they're like these guys are just as cool, and they're, yeah, 100% like new sculpts, no reused parts on them. And yeah, they're super obscure. They're in that kind of later episode,
Like
so
season 7 or something like that, right? Or
yeah, exactly. Yeah, so I never knew if we'd get to these guys or not. And yeah, they're super cool. So, and they're loaded up with, they don't have a lot of weapons because in the episode they're just like eating food everywhere they go. They're just
yeah.
like, they're wrecking a mall. Like Dirk Savage like sets a trap for them. And Paul sculpted this big energy coil that's sort of like elastic or like stretchy. You can like wrap it around, I think, either one of them. So we made like this little, like a laser kind of bear trap thing.
Oh,
And then this big energy coil, because everything on the show is like, you know, manacles and,
yeah.
you know, but the energy coil was too expensive, so we had to cut it. So hopefully, like, we do like an accessory pack or like do a second version or something. I really want to like get this energy coil out because it's a weird accessory, but it works with like so many figures, because there's countless times on the show when like the character gets zapped with like a laser, they get like sort of lassoed with, you know, just energy.
Yeah.
So it would be such a great accessory. We need to get it out somehow, you know, some way.
Well, cool.
Yeah, they come with like tons of food and stuff. It's awesome.
Well, and they're probably, well, I mean, I guess it depends, but are they the next set then, since we've kind of known about them the longest?
That's a good question. What else? Everything else is kind of shipped here. Let's see. Let me look at the checklist. Anthrax and Scumbug, those are out. Dirtbag, Ground Chuck, those are out. Mutagen Mayonnaise Stuff, those are out. Token Razar, I think, are up next. They're going to be probably first quarter. Like,
cool.
Yeah, they should be out. My memory serves correct. I think they were kind of like right after, like in the, you know, when we were sculpting and painting, when we were developing everything. I think those were the two right after Anthrax and Scumbug.
Yeah.
So yeah, those will be first quarter, like next year.
Awesome. Well,
which isn't too far away.
Yeah, it's just a couple of days away.
Yeah.
At this point, right?
Yeah.
Well, and kind of, you know, you asked me about, you know, what do I want to see next, and then pulling this back up, it reminded me of a figure that hasn't quite made it out yet, but you know, should be out soon as far as Scrag goes. And man, I'm gonna, I guess maybe I'll just be a pain, because the way that you guys are pulling him off, being able to have both versions of that, I don't know, the rest of the gang, they may be kicked up to the top of my list now.
It happens, you know, like you can't, some of these characters, like just like the Crooked Ninja Turtle gang, like you can't have the one guy without the other, like you can't do the gang members without Smash, you know. You can't do Scrag without like all his buddies. So it's a slippery slope, you know. It's just like with collecting, you want one or two of these guys, and then it's like 5 and 6, and it just balloons out, you know. So
well, and I always thought, you know, because I kind of lived excuse me, off those first 5 episodes.
Yeah.
And they all had really cool, I thought, mutated looks to them, and then they just disappeared. And I just always thought the show did them dirty, because I wanted to see them show up again.
For sure. Yeah, they really did. But that only has added to their sort of mystique or their allure over the years, because you're like, whatever happened to those gang members, like Bebop and Rocksteady's gang? Like, what the hell happened to those guys? And yeah, so it's like they're in it for just a second, but they had such a big impact on kids like us, because I was the same way. I just wanted to know more about them, and it is weird they never came back. You never saw them again. It's like, what happened to them? So
well, and the other side of that, though, is that seeing Scrag in his human form. I mean, you mentioned Bebop and Rocksteady. That makes me want to see those guys in their human form too, man.
Their human form in their potato suits.
Yeah, the Idaho potatoes.
Yeah, that's there's more. There's still more to do. Like, you look at this checklist, you're like, good Lord, it's like doubled from last year. And then, but again, there's still a whole new year of figures and stuff. So it's, there's more to do for sure.
Well, very, very exciting. And, I enjoy, all of the different iterations and sources and whatnot, but this past year has really, for me, the cartoon stuff has really been a highlight. So I can't wait to see what insanity and craziness comes along with these teases for next year, because I think we're now very solidly into that place too, where it's like we're getting to where a lot of the characters that are left to be done are characters that never have been done before, right? In really any way.
The past, when we were kind of looking back on this year, it was finding a balance of like the fan favorites that everyone remembers, and then kind of squeezing in a couple, like the first appearance, like this guy never had a figure before. So, but yeah, we're certainly into that territory now, where there's a whole bunch of them that have not had figures.
Well, but
they're going to be pretty cool when they all come out.
Yeah, but that said, you guys seem to be staying creative with keeping the main characters rolling too, because the internet, things happen fast on the internet, and when you guys kind of released the press photos for Ace Duck, I think it took about 30 seconds for people to notice that there might be some slightly new look turtles going on in there as far as their colors and whatnot. So it looks like the main guys will still be top of mind.
Yeah, we've always, we always have to have some kind of like actual Ninja Turtle presence, at the store, at retail. And yeah, they're real sneaky with those pictures sometimes. Like that stuff they do all that in the office, like Steve and Stefan and Randy and the whole crew. Like, they did that with Irma too. I think when I think it was a teaser for like the Pizza Monster.
It was.
And like Irma's shoulder was, and I was like, oh, those sneaky bastards.
Yeah.
That's like, they're really good at that stuff. That I didn't tell them to do any of that. So they're coming up with that on their own. But yeah, I think there's like 1 or 2 photos of some style guide color turtles in that photo shoot. So.
Well, cool. I guess I guess we will continue to look forward to seeing more about that as we move along. But the last, I think, cartoon thing that I want to touch on when we were talking about main characters is that we kind of got a re-up of April in a new and exciting way in this year in the Catwoman of Channel 6 set. But I think maybe it was Randy the last time I got to talk to him, kind of teasing about that, there's likely more for April in the cards upcoming too. Yeah.
Oh yeah, for sure. April's a popular character.
Yeah.
Yeah, we definitely want to make more April figures, and I don't know, maybe the first attempt at April wasn't quite like a home run, so we want to might have a little bit to make up for. But yeah, I think there's gonna be a new April figure sometime next year.
Cool.
I don't really have too much else to say right now, but it's yeah, there's gonna be a second version. So
All right. All right. Well,
yeah.
then the last thing I'll ask you about, since I mentioned, now what I think is at the top of my cartoon list as far as like your personal favorites, and no bearing on like, whether or not they would be able to be sold due to obscurity or whatnot. But if you had to pluck one character out of the cartoon that you guys haven't done yet that you would personally just want to be able to put on your shelf, who's at the top of your list now?
Top of my list for like cartoon stuff, that would be probably at this point with everything we've done, Shibano Sama. You know that character? He's in a clip show episode, and clip shows are always terrible, but
Yeah.
he's in this one, and he's like he's like this Foot Clan, like this ghost character, right? Like Shredder reads this scroll and like summons him out of this urn, and that's another character that I just always thought was really cool. Anything with like the history or the like the origin story or backstory of the Foot Clan is always kind of fascinating to me. And so Shibano Sama was like the founder of the Foot Clan.
Yeah.
And he's just like this cool, he's got the design. I don't know if this was intentional or not, but even just his design is like very like reminiscent of just the regular foot soldiers. So it seems like even like, is the foot soldier like, are those foot bots? Like, is that sort of like a throwback or sort of like, paying homage to Shibano Sama? I don't know. There's like, my mind starts wandering with like the in-world backstory of these characters. But having him like this Foot Clan ghost that you can like put in next to like Shredder and the foot soldiers and fighting Splinter and the Turtles and everything, that like, to me, he's being like kind of the founder of the Foot Clan, he's very important.
Yeah.
And it would just make a cool toy. Now some fans who know the show are going to say he's not the founder of the Foot Clan, that was Hamato Koji.
Yeah.
But if you watch the Koji episode, when he creates the actual Foot Clan, it's like he says he's like, they track down Shibano Sama's tomb, and then like with Shibano Sama's teachings, like he actually creates the Foot Clan, right?
Yeah.
When he's standing in that big dragon footprint. So it's like, there's one episode where he's clearly in the clip show, he's clearly the founder, and then there's another episode that's kind of says he's not, but then he is, because he was the one that like all the teachings are based off of. So anyways, there's your little Foot Clan history lesson for the day.
No, that's cool.
So long story short, I love Shibano Sama and want to make a figure of him.
He'd make an awesome figure. Yeah, I'm always interested to hear people's favorites, and yours is a cool pick. I really had no idea what it would be, other than I knew it wasn't going to be Tempestra. So.
It's not Tempestra, and it's not Ray Fillet.
Yeah.
And yeah, but there's a few, like Dirk Savage is like he's awesome, like this mutant bounty hunter guy. Dirk Savage is kick-ass.
Rex 1's a cool one.
Rex 1's cool. I did not like that episode when I was a kid.
I didn't either.
Yeah. Oh, really? Okay. Well, at least we have that. He still though would make a cool toy.
Yeah, I appreciate his design now, but
yeah. I don't know what it was. That one drove me crazy. The Four Musket Turtles, that episode drove me crazy as a kid. We're probably not going to get any turtles as musketeers.
Yeah.
If we do, it's going to be in 2027 or something. 2028. But yeah, Rex 1 would be it for sure. He'd be a really awesome figure. God, but yeah, you can just go down that rabbit hole. There's still like so many characters we haven't done, you know.
Yeah. Well, that's great to hear. Not that I necessarily needed to hear it, because it's like I know you guys are just, you know, cooking up crazy ideas, and there's tons of characters left, but you know, I like to put it out there for those that may be doubting that there's a whole lot left in the tank. There's a whole lot left in the tank in terms of characters.
Yeah, there's still quite a bit left. So which, yeah, it is kind of shocking when you look at this list and you're like, holy cow, done a lot. So but yeah, I did start sculpting. I don't know if I should blab about this or not. It doesn't matter. It's I don't know where it's gonna go. Sometimes I'll just sculpt the thing and be like, oh, this will be a cool figure. We'll put it in somewhere.
Yeah.
I barely do any sculpting anymore because it's just there's too much to sort of manage and everything. But
Yeah.
I started sculpting a cartoon foot soldier. It's like split in half, like Leo like sliced him down the middle.
Yeah.
And like I'm looking at the checklist you have on the screen right now, and there's the bashed and slashed
Yeah.
foot soldier. And so I started making one where he's like split, you know,
Yeah.
split in two. And I don't know where that's gonna go, but that might be one that comes out next year.
Dang.
You know, if we need to fill a spot, you know, gray foot soldier or gray rock soldier or something. Maybe there's I don't know. I'll find a place for him somewhere.
or Tattoo in his hamster form needs some random foot soldier to go with.
yeah, exactly. Tattoo and his little hamster, and oh god, yeah, that's like the weirdest thing.
Yeah.
They like electrocute him, and then it turns out he was a hamster.
So you're taking a weird character anyway, and then like making him even weirder in the show. Yeah.
Yeah, it's so crazy. Yeah, I love the show for little moments like that. You know, like when, you know, they mutate Dirtbag and Ground Shock. They got the wrong animals. You know, like Bebop and Rocksteady were supposed to get like I think he says like a lion and a gorilla or something.
Yeah.
But Shredder had all the like, he had like cybernetic like bull parts. You know? So like, where were those, like what creature was going to wear those like originally, you know? So
that Dimension X tech never runs thin, man.
No. But yeah.
Well, cool. The crazy wackiness of the cartoon line is something, like I said, I'm definitely looking forward to seeing continuing next year. But to switch gears a little bit, kind of, I think, into the opposite end of the spectrum, as far as, you know, I don't know, is realism a valid term when talking about
Sure.
Ninja Turtles? But you guys also had the new movie checklist that unveiled a few things, and we're going to get up here in just a second, but I kind of wanted to start at the bottom, because this past year has brought what I consider to be a really, 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 really cool mashup, new you know, release of the Ninja Turtles times the Universal monsters. And I don't think we've really gotten a chance to talk about those at all since they were announced. So I'm not even sure where to begin, except, man, where did this begin?
Where did it begin? I like with most things, it was a phone call with Randy, and he was like, would you be interested in, you know, is this something we should do? And I was like, yeah. You know, and it's like we're working with both of these licensors. We have Universal Monsters, we're working with Turtles, both of them are super successful. There's already like a precedent for this because the original toys, you know, also did these mashups, and then it's, you know, and they did in the 2012 show too. They like, so Turtles and Monsters have been mashed up a few times, you know. So Randy was like, I think I can get everybody on board, like both parties to agree to it or whatever. So he was like,
that dude can work some magic sometimes.
It's amazing. I don't know how he's, yeah, he really is. Like, is amazing with this stuff. So so he was like, how do it if, you know, if we're going to be able to, you know, get this stuff together. And my first thought was like, I didn't want to just kind of rehash like the old, like the original toys are great just
Yeah.
as they are. And it was like, we could add them in to the cartoon line or something, I guess. But you know, Randy was like, the cartoon, like, you know, we're already making like 1 million cartoon figures. It was like, it was, if we pitched this to Judith, we were like, if Judith Hoag wants to be the Bride of Frankenstein, you know, maybe we just do these as like movie monsters. And like, just imagine if, you know, the Jim Henson Creature Shop had made like these monster, and then we started just running with, oh, what if we did that? It was just like kicking around all these ideas, and we got really excited about, you know, just doing something new with it, because it's really rare for us, like, to be you know, to be creating anything new. Everything we do is like, oh, it's based on this film, it's like super hyper accurate to, you know, this movie or this, you know, the cartoon, or there's a video. Everything we do is like based on an existing thing, and this is like the one shot, you know, we kind of get to play around a little bit and do something, you know, kind of fun, like a fresh take. Turtles is also great with, you know, just putting them in all kinds of wacky situations.
Yeah.
So so when we pitched the idea to Judith and she was like all for it, we were like, okay, great, we're making like our own movie monsters. So then the next thing was, what are they going to look like? And I've known James Groman for almost 20 years, maybe. I was like a kid in college. We were both from Cleveland, you know, so I was a kid in college. He was working at like Hasbro or something at the time. But I used to show him my portfolio and like bug him. I had like 1 million questions about being a toy designer. So I've known him forever, and I worked with him for just briefly when I was at DC Comics.
Yeah.
And it was so much fun to work with him again after like so many years. So I was like, hey, Jim, and Jim loves monsters. He had done the illustration for the musical Mutagen tour. And I was like, I have another project for you. It's Ninja Turtles, but you know, it's monsters. And like, he was like, this is so cool, because he loves monsters. He's the one license that's kind of eluded him throughout his whole career. He told me, he's like, I've never really worked on Ninja Turtles before.
Yeah.
Except for that illustration he did on the Mutagen tour for us. So I kind of gave him just I was like, we kind of want them to be, you know, old traditional 1930s Universal monsters, just like mashed up with like fun 80s looking turtle action figures. And we just let them kind of run wild with it. So it was amazing. Like, so we'd show them, you know, Jim would like send in sketches to me. I'd show them to Randy and Stefan, and everyone at work is like a huge monster fan. So it was just so much fun to like, you know, see all this stuff like kind of, you know, coming together. And then Tony Cipriano was sculpting them. And again, Tony is also just like, everyone loves Universal monsters. So it was like, everyone that was working on it was just so excited about it. And it was like something new and different. It was our own thing. So that was just like, it was a blast to work on this stuff. So,
well, and then you guys got Daniel Horn to do the box art. I mean, you got heavyweights coming in all over the place to work on these guys.
That was another thing with Randy, you know, getting Daniel Horn. I don't know, I don't remember exactly how that might have already known him or like met him. I don't know if he might have just reached out to him. I can't remember. But when we started talking about the overall look of, you know, the whole presentation, like, you know, what's the box art going to look like? And we wanted to do some kind of like kick-ass, you know, monster illustrations and stuff. So yeah, so Randy was like, I think you know, we'll see if Daniel Horn's available, and he was, and he's just doing these unbelievable paintings of these you know, these characters. So it's,
Well,
that was another thing, like when like Randy would get the images of like Daniel's paintings, he'd like, you know, email us this stuff, and it was just like, holy crap.
well, that's
Amazing.
what I was going to say. You guys tricked the internet there for a little while because most people thought that that was photography of that Raphael
No,
figure. Yeah.
no, that's, well, Daniel, like we sent Daniel the paint master, so he's working off of them like
Yeah.
you would like a still life or whatever. He lights them, and he's got a very specific way that he works, you know,
Yeah.
but it's 100%, it's like a traditional painting. I don't know if he works in oil or acrylic. I think it's oil, but
I
yeah,
think it is oil.
he's just painting, like he's just an old school painter, and he's just amazing.
He is, because you know, obviously he's known for his fantasy, you know, paintings and whatnot, but my introduction to him was through toys, like way back in the late 90s when he did the sculpting on the Toy Vault Lord of the Rings action figure line. And so I kind of like met him back, well, not met him, but came to know him backwards from that.
I think Randy has a story about that. I think
Really?
Randy went down to visit him or something, and oh god, yeah, I think,
I still have those on the shelf. It's crazy.
yeah. um yeah, he's amazing. The paintings that he's been doing are just like, they're unbelievable. Like, see them in person, it's like he's just so talented, and
Yeah.
we're so lucky to, like, everything about this project, we're just so like fortunate to have it all come together the way it did. And it's been so much fun to work on, and this has just been a total blast to, you know, get to work on kind of new-ish stuff.
Yeah. Well, you mentioned April as the bride of Frankenstein, which is teased out on here, obviously,
Yeah.
and that choice inherently or intrinsically even makes sense. I guess my question is that what like exercise or thought process did you guys go through in terms of picking which turtle or which character to mash up with which monster?
It wasn't easy.
Yeah.
And we kind of like wrote these little mini, like, sort of backstories, or just not even a backstory, but just like, you know, we try and match up characters with personalities, and just see how, what kind of made the most sense. The one thing I really wanted to do was like like a hunchback turtle kind of seemed like a no-brainer,
Uh-huh.
you know. So I really wanted to do that. And then it was like Bela Lugosi playing Igor in the Frankenstein movies. I absolutely love that performance. You know, he's in the third,
Son of Frankenstein.
he's Son of Frankenstein's the first one
Yeah.
that he's in, but he's great. And then he ends up like putting his brain in the monster at the end of the Ghost of Frankenstein, I think.
Yeah.
Or maybe at the end of Son. I can't get them all mixed up. But Raph seemed to work well with Frankenstein's monster, you know, because it was like he's got some anger issues, he's got some rage.
Yeah.
He's a little misunderstood, you know. He wants to, that all seemed to work pretty well. Igor is sort of like this, like, scheming sort of, he's kind of the brains behind the monster, you know. It just seemed to work pretty good with Leo, and we really wanted to make him, he's not Quasimodo, you know. We really wanted to make him like you know, how Bella is in Son of Frankenstein. So
that's cool.
Yeah, so we went with that. Michelangelo's The Mummy. There's a couple really cool things that we haven't shown. I guess you have to wait for Toy Fair for the reveal. Yeah. But there's a couple really cool things with the Mummy figure with Mikey that I can't wait for people to see, because it's a really cool figure. And this might be my favorite painting that Daniel Horn has done. Is
really
the Mikey ones. Like, it's so good. They're all kick-ass, but the Mikey one I think is my favorite one.
Cool.
And then April is the bride. Kind of, that was kind of the spark that that kicked the whole thing off, was like, if Judith was on board for this, you know,
to do it in like the realistic direction, huh?
Yeah. And then there's a bunch of other characters like we haven't announced yet. Not a bunch, but a few.
Well, you're saving the best turtle for last, so I get it.
Yeah, so there's still one turtle missing, and there's a few other characters that you know, again, we're trying, if luckily it seems to be pretty well received, and if it's successful and the first couple sell well, we got like, you know, kind of big plans to you know, maybe double or, you know, triple the monster line. There's how many are sculpted? We've got a few you know, well, kind of, yeah, waiting to see the light of day. So
well, you know, it's like you said, being able to do like something, a fresh take, and then again bring like, you know, a murderer's row of talent as far as people that are supporting this. I'm really excited about this, and I guess I would say more so than I ever thought that I would be over a Turtle and Universal mashup line. It's just the way that you guys decided to do it, I think is just is pretty perfect.
Yeah, thanks, man. I love it. You know, being a kid in the 80s, there's so many crazy toy lines. It's just, if you had half an idea, you could get a toy line, you could get a cartoon, you could get a comic book made. You know, nowadays everything has got to be like a tried and true, like a franchise or it's such a, you know, it's so expensive to tool anything and produce anything. It's not like it was in the 80s. So you know, we're usually pretty limited in kind of, you know, the creativity or whatever. It's always just, you know, working off of whatever license. Not that any of this isn't fun, like making movie turtles and making comics and cartoon turtles, but like, I can't imagine another time just in my career where I'm going to be able to like really like create some stuff, you know. I didn't even create any, I just art directed all these other guys that have all the talent.
Yeah,
but you know, to be a part of this line, it's definitely special, because it's like doing something new and different. And you know, it's a little risky too, like trying something new, because you don't know if people just want to see the old toys, you know, like kind of bigger and better, or if, you know, they'll go along with you to, you know, do something new. But yeah,
well, I'm really looking forward to it, and I think I saw pictures that Raph is already finding his way out in Asia, so it looks like he's getting close. So
yeah,
cool, exciting stuff. Well, then to get to the actual movie part of this, there were also some new turtles that I don't want to say that like people were expecting to this point, but I think we had gone on to the point where people are, you know, constantly asking, where are the ooze turtles, where are the ooze turtles, and now there are the ooze turtles.
Yeah, we have them.
Yeah.
Hopefully, you know, you guys will get them soon. This is something we've been working on for over a year. You know, delays with like the pandemic certainly kind of slowed us down, you know, with these guys, but they're here, they're done. They're coming soon. So they're really cool.
From the looks of them, are they basically based off of the same base as the movie One Turtles, with what obviously new heads and maybe some new belt work, or are there other things that I'm not seeing there?
Yeah, there's a little more to it, and even that, it's hard to tell, because there are so many similarities between the first and the second movie, but there is a lot of new sculpting. The elbow pads, the knee pads, the plastron, their chest plate, the upper torso, the heads, the bandanas, all that's brand new. The belts, I think with the exception of Leo's belt is,
Uh-huh.
I think that's the same belt, but then the sheaths in the back are new, because in the
Okay.
movie there's a weird little thing where it's like there's a little dip cut out of the top of the sheath.
Uh-huh.
In the original movie, that faces out backwards. In the second movie, it faces like towards the camera.
Huh.
So we resculpted the sheaths just because of that detail.
And
So
Mikey's got nunchuck
Mikey's
pouches
got those
on.
like buckets hanging off his
Yeah.
belt to hold the chucks. And then the weird thing I had noticed, there's a couple weird things with Mikey where it looks like he's wearing the same belt in the movie, but it's upside down. So like the way
Really?
it buckles together and like threads around like the one side in part one does
Uh-huh.
it the opposite direction in part two. And then like the super noticeable thing is he's got those buckets like tied to the sides.
Yeah.
Uh, but it's a new belt, you know, because that's how it is in the movie. Mikey also has a different shell. Mikey's shell changes from part one to part two. So
Oh.
Mikey's got a different shell. The paint job on the shells is like totally different. In the second movie, they're I don't know, they're a lot like cartoonier looking.
Mm-hmm.
Like they've got like really heavy like black outlines or dark brown outlines like around the muscles, and you know, around like the little cross parts on the chest plates and on there's a lot of new deco on them. Yeah, so it just like if you just picked one up off the shelf and compared the two, they don't look too different, but like the neck piece is thinner. The shoulders are, the upper torso is a new piece. Yeah, like I said, the knee pads and everything are new because they are different. The forearms are different, new forearms, because in the first movie they've got these crazy like really big like kind of bow tie,
Uh-huh.
like they're loose ends, like they wrap the wristbands, you know, it wraps around and it's tied off. In the
Yeah.
second movie it's like just one complete like seamless wristband.
Oh, okay.
So that's like weird stuff I would obsess over. Like I didn't notice it until I started working on the figures, but I was like, they have this big crazy like, you know, bunch of like leather in the first movie like coming off of their wrists. Second movie it's not like that at all. So
And you had to like have the contrast on your monitors like turned all the way up to be able to catch some of those dark
so
details,
dark, you
especially from
can't
that
see a
first
damn
movie.
thing in that movie. But yeah, it's just like watching it frame by frame, and then yeah, just like screenshots and yeah, blowing up the contrast and everything. So there is a bunch of little differences, like stuff like that most people aren't going to probably notice or care about. The cool thing is the new head sculpts.
Yeah.
So the heads are, you know, everyone I think can tell that, you know, even with like Mikey, it's pretty similar to the first movie, but they're like all new head sculpts.
Well, and that's what I wanted to say is that I'm not the biggest Ooze fan in the world, and especially with my favorite turtle being Donatello, I have serious issues with portrayal and, you know, obviously voice change and things. But I've got to say that his head sculpt here, because I'm in for all of these. I actually really like it, and I have never been able to look at Ooze Donatello and be like, I like this, because he looks so drastically different
until now,
from the
yeah.
original.
I felt the same way. It's like new, and same with Raph, like new
Yeah.
voice, like, you know, just wasn't quite the same. The first movie's so perfect.
Yeah.
And, but you know, they're cool in the second movie. Like it's a fun movie, and so yeah, so there's all new head sculpts. What else can I say? There's
Well, the
combat cold cuts. You know, you can't. The accessories for this set are
that's what I was
super
gonna
fun.
say. It's like it becomes almost prop comedy at some points in that movie.
Yeah.
So I can imagine you guys probably went nuts there, huh?
Yeah, that was a little tough to, where do we draw the line with stuff? A couple of the accessories I'm really excited about, because we put you know, the first movie everyone has like slices of pizza and everything.
Mm-hmm.
but they're whole slices, you know, it's like a
Right.
complete, this one, I sculpted a bunch of pizza crusts, so like half-eaten pizzas. And in the
Nice.
second movie, everyone is eating pizza all the time. And it's
Yeah.
always like half of a slice or just holding, you know, the crust or whatever. So this time around, we sculpted a bunch of like half-eaten stuff. Um, so there's that. They're always eating a ton of junk food. There's like, oh God, there's like that candy bar that Raph is yelling at Mikey about. There's a bowl of
Yeah.
popcorn. There's so many accessories that we sculpted that they don't all fit into one box.
Wow.
So, so there's the 4 turtles, all new head sculpts, a bunch of accessories. There's going to be an accessory set to go along with these guys because there's just too much to pack into one box.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, you know, the first set is great. You can buy the turtles, and I think a lot of people, you might just be content with that because
Uh-huh.
the second movie's your favorite. We got you covered.
Yeah.
But you know, if you're really obsessive over the stuff, like I'll get really obsessive over certain things. There's you know, there's a scene where like, oh, one of my favorite things we did, we put in the when they find the new turtle lair, you know, they've got their like their knapsacks and everything when they're looking for the, Mikey's got that like that suitcase.
Oh yeah, yeah.
So we sculpted the suitcase, and it's awesome. We put little like travel stickers, all these little Easter egg like travel stickers all over the suitcase.
Oh, that's awesome.
And then Donatello, when they call April at work and like Donatello's carrying around the payphone,
Yeah.
you know, we sculpted the payphone. Mikey's got those 2 big bags of like super generic potato chips and like Ripple chips. So
Uh-huh.
we sculpted those.
Wow.
So we made all this stuff that's just like, it kind of fills, if you have like a little diorama, you
Uh-huh.
know, it's just cool stuff to like add into like Instagram photos or just fill out the diorama to make it like a really kind of lived in world, you know. So it's even like the payphone's got a little hook on the back, so you could like, you know, stick a nail in the wall, or you know, put a little screw and like hang the payphone up on the wall when Donatello's not carrying it under his arm. So and the accessory set's got just like the original accessory set we did, it's got a whole new bunch of head sculpts.
Oh, yeah.
These turtles are just, they're so expressive. You can't just
Right.
have like angry fighting turtles. You can't just have like stoic, like I'm, you know, in meditation, contemplate, like you have to have like happy, fun, sad, and you know, so
Yeah.
there's a ton of stuff.
Well, cool.
So
Cool.
I feel like people got starved on like Secret of the Ooze this year, you know, because there was Token Razar last year, and then we had a couple super shredders,
Uh-huh.
and then it was just like, you know, supply chain pandemic nonsense, just slowing everything down. So next year there's going to be a bunch more. There's
There's Shredder.
the proper shredder, just regular shredder from part 2.
Yeah.
You know, big new kick-ass like shoulder pads, you know, or that, you know, that really super wide torso, brand new cape. He's got the giant mutated dandelion,
And the what the buzz saw
crazy
on
like, yeah,
the
saw
helmet.
blade helmet. So yeah, next year that guy too, he's going to be shipping I think like middle, like first quarter-ish. He should be out like in the springtime probably.
Cool.
Um
Well,
yeah.
there's definitely distinctively new turtles, and Shredder takes obviously a couple of different looks, but there are other characters in the movie too. So I'm sure that once you guys kind of break this seal with really jumping in to Ooze with the turtles, you're gonna hear lots of people probably asking for some key names in there, man.
Yeah, key names. Yeah.
Uh-huh.
Yeah, there's probably a couple more figures, or you know, a couple more characters that I don't know, maybe a toy fair, or maybe I don't know. There's more to do.
Yeah.
I'll say that, I guess. There's certainly more to do. more we'd like to do from Secret of the Ooze. It's not just Turtles and Shredder. So
Awesome. Well, this for something that, at first I only ever thought that we were going to get the
right.
four turtles from the
Yep.
original movie. The movie representation and then kind of the permeations of it into
Yeah,
to
it
different
shoots
things.
off in weird tangents and stuff. Yeah.
It's really been fun to follow along with. So I'm excited to see where it goes, because I mean, I have to admit that I have actually never seen the third movie, but
Really?
samurai turtle designs can be kind of interesting too, man. I don't know.
It could be that. Yeah, that third movie is a little rough to get through. It has its
Yeah.
moments, but yeah, I don't know. The samurai turtles, good lord. They could be fun. It's just amazing to look at, you know, this check, even like getting those three super shredders, and then, you know, the farmhouse, like Casey and April, and
Yeah.
that Spirit
It's
of
getting,
Splinter figure. I was just so happy we were able to make that, you
yeah.
know, a couple years ago.
Yeah, it's definitely one of my favorite corners for sure. Just because of the realism and the fact that you guys have, likenesses for, everybody who's in the line. It's really cool. So I'm excited to add some Secret of the Ooze turtles to my collection, which you guys got me again, because I thought I'd be able to make it through life without needing Secret of the Ooze stuff. But here we
They're
go.
too much fun with
Yeah.
all the little all the accessories. There's too much cool stuff in that set. Even for me personally, it was just for the pizza crusts. Like,
Yeah.
it's just cool. Like, yeah, there's a ton of cool stuff in there. But yeah, Secret of the Ooze. It's they're fun. They're really fun toys. I have one more idea for, like, maybe another super shred. We've done a lot of super shredders. I think I'm thinking we could probably do like one or two more, but
Really?
I don't know. But yeah, there's still other characters too that need to be done from that movie.
Yeah, somebody's got to bring him their pizza, right?
Yeah.
Well, 2022 will be the year of the ooze, but finally though, I wanted to get to the last checklist that you guys showed off for this year, and it was kind of a combined video game as well as comic. And this is exciting for me for a couple of reasons, and we'll get to the comic stuff here in a minute, because that's what's really exciting for me. But I gotta say that I think, if I'm remembering correctly, Granitor and Trag were two of like the earliest video game figures that you guys ever showed off, and then that have, distinctly different looks than their cartoon versions, and we're finally getting them, huh?
Yeah, it only took I don't know how many years. Yeah, I think we probably showed those off in like 2016 or something like
Yeah,
that.
it was
a while
back
ago.
there.
'Cause
Yeah.
I know I wanted to sculpt those guys before Bebop and Rocksteady. You know, I was like, it would be cool if we could do these guys in, their video game looks, and
Because both of those guys were bastards in the game, man.
Yeah. Oh yeah. But yeah, they were super cool, and yeah, we showed them off with, I think maybe with Leatherhead. It was like the
And
three of them,
Slash.
and oh yeah, Slash. So,
Yeah.
yeah. Yeah, so they've been kind of, they were kind of put on a back burner. It was that there's that time where, like, we were still only like limited to doing like convention exclusives. And the plan was to make that set like another, like, next year's convention exclusive or whatever.
I gotcha.
But then something happened where we were able to, sell, into Target, And you know, once that happened, it kind of shifted to like, you know, then we get the Bebop and Rocksteady 2-pack, and then there was Leatherhead and Slash, and everything kind of, priorities kind of shifted into like, we're gonna just go crazy and make like tons of cartoon figures that never would have been possible if we were only doing the conventions.
Right.
So then these two kind of just, you know, was back burner for a while. And but you know, we've had them like sitting there ready, like kind of tooled up, ready to go. And it was like before we kind of like slow down and like not retire, but just kind of like
Take a break.
take a break from like the video game line. It was like, let's get these two guys out there. And then, you know, the foot soldiers are in every color in the, you know, the arcade and in Turtles in Time. So you know, it was another thing where we can do them in different colors, which is cool. And then just like, let's make some more crazy cool like accessories that, you know, we can just fill you know, dioramas with, or just kind of like, you know, kind of pad out your collection. So they have a couple more weapons. There's like that 3-stick like nunchuck thing that they use. There's like a battle axe. There's like that tuning fork, like that Sonic tuning thing. I think there's like a flaming bow and arrow. I don't know.
Yeah.
There's a bunch of new weapons that these guys
the sun cream
with. Huh?
The sun cream
Yeah. Yeah. So yeah, so these guys will be out like probably early next year. But doing that giant like torpedo bomb and the crate full of fireworks and dynamite and everything, it was just like too cool to pass up. So
well, I'm you know, I'm turning to look at it, that video game collection. I mean, really, that's where it, I mean, we've got the comic Turtles that were really first, but in terms of like, you know, coming back and really starting to do things, those original 4 video game Turtles were really what kind of kicked it off. And that's kind of like
that was kind of like the shot in the arm, kind of like the second wave, or the second, like kind of a rejuvenation of like the interest in Turtles, you know.
Well, and the cartoon and the movie lines, they obviously get a lot of attention, but this is that's a collection that like snuck up. And I mean, you've done a lot of, you know, like you said, Pirate, Bebop and Rocksteady, and Baxter from the second one, and now Trag and Granitor. It's a fun group in bright colors with a really interesting deco to them. I still love that pixelated look for the video game figures.
Yeah, some characters, it just looks great. You know, like the Trag and Granitor look awesome, all pixelated, and the Turtles in Time Baxter is like, I don't know, that's really fun figure. And then when we redid the Turtles, you know, the hoverboards, it's just like now in the foot soldiers, like now we've got these awesome hoverboard, you know, accessories to go with them. So yeah, the video game line, there's still a couple more video game characters, and it's the Slash from Turtles in Time is awesome too. Like that's one of my favorite figures of all the turtle stuff we've done. So they're fun. But there are still a couple more characters, like video game characters, I want to do.
Well, I'm kind of hoping that maybe on that list, when, you know, they come back, that, you know, they kind of a couple of them start with Tora and end with Shogun or something like that too, you know, man.
Yeah, those guys are awesome. They'd be real cool figures.
So okay, so Granitor and Trag, and that's going to be a 2-pack together.
Yeah.
And the foot soldiers will be a pack.
I think they're both 2-packs. Yeah, Trag and Granitor in one set, and then like the foot soldier kind of army builder pack. Yeah.
Okay, so then those are kind of then going to be like the last couple of sets before that, you know, because you guys sell these at the specialty stores,
Right.
you know, and whatnot. And then is that going to kind of just lead to a handoff then of kind of switching focus for a little while to getting the comic book series kicked back up
Yeah.
again at specialty?
Yep. That's the plan, is yeah, just kind of switching the one out for the so yeah, all the new comic book stuff we're doing with Mirage, going back to the old Mirage comics. We've got a bunch of new figures planned, and all that's going to be going to specialty. So pre-orders online, and you know, any comic book shop that carries our figures, you should be able to buy that stuff there. All the major like online retailers that you buy figures from, you know, they should be carrying them. So
Well,
yeah,
well, I love my cartoon figures, but I got to tell you, getting back into the comic world just feels right, and I'm really excited to see what you guys have cooking for this, and I feel like Fugitoid is a really cool kind of, I guess, lead-in character for that. And this is the first time that we got to see him with his paint deco, and
yeah,
man, that accomplishing a chrome drawn deco. I mean, he looks fantastic.
it's all Jeffrey Trapp. He is like an amazing paint. He's so good at you know, painting like the stylized figures.
Hmm.
Especially stuff like this. Like, um, I mean, I think that was pretty much like a first attempt. Like he did, there might have been one or two little like changes with just like the shade, or like the like a little tweak with some color, but that was pretty much just like Jeff just nailed it. You know, he sent him a bunch of reference from the comics, and I was like, I don't know what to tell to tell you, just do your thing. And he's like, okay. And you know, day or two later, he had this, and I was like, oh, it's amazing. So, and
Yeah,
then it was like hoping the factory is going to be able to replicate it. And
sure.
so far, the samples we've got back from the factory are awesome. So, so fingers crossed they can like keep that up. And you know, it's super cool. It's such a Fugitoid's one of those characters, like again, like that short list of, boy, I hope we get to um, you know, do a Fugitoid someday. So
Yeah.
it's great. He's got bendy arms and
Are
bendy
those
legs.
bendy? Okay, that's what I was gonna
And
ask.
then like at the everything else is like a pretty much like a swivel, you know, so
Uh-huh.
you can, his arms will rotate, and you can get a decent amount of movement, you know, between the bendy wires and all the swivel joints that are in him. He's got a double ball joint in his torso, so you can sort of like rock him, like kind of twist it around, rotate. Um, and he's got a double ball in his neck, so the base
Okay.
of his neck and up in his head, I think there's two balls in there, so you can, you know, rotate all that around. So yeah, he's cool. And then we talked about it on the Comic-Con video, I think a couple months ago.
Hmm.
You know, he's got all these weapons and
Yeah.
cool accessories that are all compatible with like the original Mirage Turtles. Um, he's got that like thing, that gauntlet thing from the Donatello one-shot issue, where like him and Kirby are like drawing all the
Yeah.
stuff. So that fits on like the turtles' arms. It fits on Fugitoid's arm.
Oh,
Uh,
cool.
it's yeah, all of his accessories are fantastic.
Well, like I said, you know, he occupies a very special place, I think, in the overall, not just Ninja Turtles, but Mirage and Eastman and Laird,
Right.
you know, pantheon there. So I really like the selection of him to I guess come first, right? But there are a lot of unique characters I think to get to that we haven't seen yet, and I know you guys are probably holding on to you know, further reveals and whatnot for Toy Fair and
Yeah.
beyond. So I want to be respectful of that. But when we talk about, you know, the turtles themselves, because we touched on this a little bit, you know, I love the original Mirage figures, but man, I don't even like to say, you know, how long I've had those now, because it's amazing, because they hold up so well, but it's been
Yeah,
a
they're
long time
yeah.
since those turtles came out. So I like the idea of Mirage giving us, though, for the turtles themselves, a lot of different options for, you know, where you guys might be able to go in terms of looks and versions, right?
Yeah, definitely. They like these original figures really, when they first came out, they really caught my attention. It made me want to like work at NECA. I was just like, oh
Yeah.
my God, these figures are incredible. Like no one's ever done this before. You know, they were, and they do hold up.
Yeah.
They're, you know, near perfect figures. Yeah, I love them. This was when I first saw those back in 2007 or 8, or whenever they came out. I was blown away. And then um, yeah, so but the cool thing with Mirage is there's a few different artists, and the turtles kind of evolved over time. They had, you know, a few different looks.
Yeah.
Um, so we're probably going to be seeing some new Mirage turtles, you know, sometime in the near future. I don't know, sometime
Yeah.
in 2022, I would think. Um, so yeah, there's lots of new Mirage stuff planned. There's characters that never had figures before.
Oof.
You know, there's reinterpretations of existing characters because their looks change so many. Like I said, you know, it's yeah. There's a whole bunch of new stuff with Mirage. I don't know if I mentioned this last time or not. One of my favorite things about this line um, is we're working with Kevin Eastman to do some new artwork for us, like all the packaging art. There's
Kevin
nothing
Eastman
really.
is going to do the packaging art.
Kevin Eastman is like doing all our packaging art for us. So the new boxes are really kick-ass, and working with Kevin again is
Wow.
like I'm working with Kevin Eastman, you know,
Wow.
it's like mind-blowing. So he's been super cool. But yeah, there's because the original comics, the art was kind of all over the place, and there's not really a definitive look for any of those guys. And like Kevin is still so active, like, you know, working on turtles and stuff. So Randy and Kevin have known each other a long, long time. So we reached out to him. We're like, could you help us out? Like, we want to go back and,
Yeah.
you know, just really uh, make some new like kick-ass Mirage stuff. And he was like totally down for it. So
That's incredible.
yeah,
Because I've always kind of and I think most people would, these feel more like the original ones feel more like the Laird style
yeah,
turtle. So it's like, you know, get just, you know, thinking about complimentary Eastman style turtles is ooh.
yeah. So um, yeah, it's cool. Like, yeah, Kevin's doing all the artwork uh, for all the packaging. So it's yeah, it just it looks awesome. Like he'll send, you know, I wake up in the morning, I like check my inbox. You're like, oh my God, Kevin just sent me a bunch of sketches. He's like, I hope these are okay. Like, let me know if you have any notes. And I'm like, what are you talking
Like,
about?
you created these, sir.
Yeah, it was like, do what you want. Like, man, they're so cool. So yeah, like
So are you guys I mean, I know it's packaging, but I mean, it's Kevin Eastman packaging. Are you planning on being able to show off some of that stuff at Toy Fair then?
yeah, I think some of that you'll definitely be seeing at Toy. There's a lot of it. There's a handful of figures that are kind of like done, ready to go. So I think
Yeah.
we'll be, you know, you'll be seeing that for sure in New York in February.
Oh, well, there's a lot to do as far as Mirage goes. So I mean, I'm positive that can keep you guys busy for a long time. But you know, like the movie Turtles and even the cartoon Turtles, there are several different iterations and you know, companies like that the Turtles have passed through as far as comic stuff goes.
Mhm.
From, you know, Archie to IDW. I mean, are we I'm not.
Yeah,
I know. I'm getting ahead of myself here, but just the
a lot.
potential of I think the comic series is another piece that's got me so excited.
It's yeah, man. You're right. There's a lot to do, and there's just like there's only so many slots like kind of in the year, and there's only so many people like working on this stuff.
Yeah.
It's Turtles. It is like just to do it right. It's a massive undertaking, and yeah, they've appeared in so many different ways, and every one of them has their own sort of diehard fans, and
Uh-huh.
people have been waiting for figures. So we're trying to get to everybody when we can. But yeah, it's I don't know, kind of one thing at a time. We're definitely got like a lot planned for Mirage, and then there'll probably be a few other surprises, at Toy Fair, I think.
All right. Well, that's fair. It makes me really excited to be in New York in a few weeks, but it's going to make that wait feel like forever at this point. But I've got to say that I really like and appreciate the accessibility and the fact that you guys are putting the comic turtles specifically into the specialty stores, because it just feels like that's where they belong, and
Yeah,
being able to
it
just
makes the most
pre-order
sense
them
for
and
sure.
stuff like that. Yeah.
Yeah, this is what started all of this was the Mirage figures back, like I said, like 2007 or 2008 or whatever. And yeah, to go back to like, specialty shops and, comic book stores online, that's definitely, like you said, it's where they belong. That's where they're going. And yeah, they're super cool. This is what kind of kicked the whole thing off. So
Yeah.
it's great to go back and just add to that collection. So
And with Kevin effing Eastman working on the artwork, man, that's crazy. I love it.
yeah,
I love it. Wow. Well, I like I said, I cannot wait until February. I mean, for all of the turtle lines, but man, you've been very generous with your time today, and we got to wrap up 2021 and kind of get into the things that are coming, and some of the hypotheticals and whatnot. So I really appreciate you taking the time. But
yeah,
if
of
I can
course.
ask you one last question in terms of how would you describe the overall feel of 2022 from your vantage point as far as turtles goes right now?
Oh man, for 2022, I'm really excited to show what we've got, uh what we got planned. Like the stuff it's a lot of the stuff we've been working on for the last like probably 6 or 8 months. There's a couple figures. Again, it's like stuff that I never thought we'd be able to work on. It was stuff I'd be like customizing just out of other figures,
Yeah,
just because it seemed impossible like a couple of years ago. So I'm really excited to show off what we've got planned. And it's yeah, I don't know. It's just going to be just kind of bigger and better. There's just more turtles, and yeah, I don't know. It's super fun stuff. More kind of first appearance characters that never had a figure before, and um, it's yeah, on all fronts. The cartoon stuff, the movie stuff, the Mirage stuff. It's all you know. It's all stuff that fans have been kind of like begging for, like demanding that we do. And I think 2022 is going
dreaming
to be
of.
one of it's it finally pays off, I think. So all that
Wow.
all that patience is it's paid off.
Well, cool. Well, then hopefully after Toy Fair in February, maybe we can get another chance to kind of sit down and maybe talk about some of these things that you've been, hinting around at that point in time. But
Yeah.
um, I look forward to that, and hopefully I'll get to see you in February. Do you know if you're going to be headed there yet? I mean, if there is,
That's the plan. I mean, it seems to change daily, right? I don't
yeah.
know, but yeah, for sure the plan is to go out there and like set up and You know, it's all, Toy Fair is always, you know, no sleep, just like all-nighters for like a week straight, just trying to get everything together. So yeah, I'll definitely be out there. You know, as long as it's like, you know, there's not like another huge disaster
Lockdown and yeah,
like more lockdowns and like, you know, travel restrictions and all that stuff. So
yeah.
Yeah, the plan is to be out there and like working, helping them set up and get it all together. So
Well, cool. Well, then
yeah,
I definitely look forward to seeing you there because it's been a while. But as
yeah,
always, man, thank you very much for taking the time to chat with us. I know this will be up, you know, live in about a week or so. But between now and then, I hope you have a good holiday and a good end of the year. And
yeah. Thanks,
we'll
you
be
too.
chatting soon.
Cool. Thanks, man.
All right. Thanks. I appreciate it. Thanks, everybody.